Hello, and welcome to the Joyful Living Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Dixon. The purpose of the Joyful Living Podcast is to share stories of hope and inspiration of everyday people, moms and dads, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit organizers, so that we can shed some light into the darkness that we feel today. The world is in a different time now, and people are feeling hopeless, so we are here to spread some joy and to share some hope. So we are sharing these stories of inspiration with you every Wednesday at 5 p.m. If you're watching us today on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and like the video. If you're listening on Anchor FM, be sure to hit the support button. You can support our cause for less than a cup of coffee every month so that we can continue to bring you these inspirational stories. We want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, Authors and Arts Studio. We are here in this lovely establishment again tonight to record another session of the podcast. Today, my special guest is Dwayne Garnett. Jay and I met several years ago at a networking event, and we bonded instantly. And since that time, we've become like brothers and sisters, and he acts like a little brother. And well, you know how little brothers act.
Our older sister, Valerie, loves me the best. Just want to put that out
Yes, she does. There's no question about that. She does. So we like to have a lot of fun together. So, Jay, tell everybody about yourself.
Okay, I'm an Augusta, Georgia native, but I consider Columbia, South Carolina my home. That's where I came from because I went to undergrad and grad there. I am the father of two amazing, unique personality young ladies.
Yes, I love my girls. Those are my girls.
And an amazingly beautiful, outstanding, intelligent young lady by the name of Lolita Garnett, for some strange reason, chose me to be her husband.
That is strange.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm being good. But yeah, and together we started an organization. My wife and now, actually, my kids are all involved. We started an organization called Love is a Parable.
Okay. So tell me, what is the premise behind the nonprofit Love is a Parable?
Well, we have this strange idea that we can live in a world of unity, and we believe love is the tool that will get us there.
Okay. So what in the world made you even begin to want to start an organization that is so focused on love?
The funny thing is, I struggle with answering that question because I never wanted to start an organization, and let alone start an organization built on love. It's one of those things that it kind of found me.
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying because I'm an introvert. I didn't want to be a speaker,
mm-hmm.
but I am one, and now I enjoy it. So I get it.
I'm learning to enjoy it because, when you go from being private to now being a public person, and then also when your word and your organization spreads, sometimes people that you didn't know that you knew mm-hmm. because of social media and different types of platforms and avenues that you use. So that's still an adjustment, and that's one of the things that I have to get used to, is that this was something that chose me, mm-hmm. and I have to now make myself available for it.
Okay, I understand. Sounds like you're talking about the purpose that you were created for.
Right, and the purpose I wanted for my life. Mm-hmm. In your mind you have this idea you would be something totally different, mm-hmm. but then when you find your life path, you're like, wow, this is me.
Yep.
But it does feel like home. It's like one of those things, it's hard to explain, but when you get there, you're like, this feels like home. This feels right.
Oh, that really sounds good, though, I call it when it feels good in your skin. It's just a natural feeling. Like, I couldn't imagine not being a Joyful Living Life Coach, because it's so much a part of who I am that it feels like home. I'm at home. I'm in my skin when I'm...
Yeah, because you never would have met me. See, it feels like home.
It feels like home. Okay. So, your organization is based on unity and love. How does your definition of love differ from what we most of the time think about love?
Okay, now you're going to get me beat up.
Because we think of love as in romantic relationships, and I'm in love with somebody. So tell us a little bit just about that.
Right. We actually don't subscribe to the ancient Greek philosophy of love. So we don't believe in their 4 types of love. We don't believe in those loves that are familiar, like eros, storge, phileo, or agape love. We believe that there's just one love. And we believe that we also don't believe in the self-love ideology. And we don't subscribe to the 5 love languages as well. So that's one thing that makes us different. But we do believe that there are 4 elements to identify love. But we believe that these elements should happen all at the same time to be defined as love. And so that's one of the things that we actually do go over in the class. But we also have the manual online that they can purchase if they wanted to kind of get a little bit more insight before joining the class, which I want you to do. So
you mentioned that one of the elements of Love is a Parable is unity. You know, the U.S. is a great melting pot of different cultures and subcultures and ethnicities and races. In the society that we're in today, how do we keep who we are as a culture and the subcultures and have the unity that you describe in your Love is a Parable?
Well, I think that one thing we have to master is knowing the difference between one and oneness. A lot of times when we think about one, we think in singularity. But one actually can be a plural term, which actually progresses us to oneness. On the back of our American currency, you see e pluribus unum, which means out of many is one. There is an ancient Hebrew word is achad, which also means one.
Did you just spit on me? No,
a little bit.
I'm kidding.
Let me stop. But no, but oneness is one of those things that we master, that we need to master, because me understanding me is also me understanding you, but we're all one and the same. And a lot of times we look or we focus on things that separate us, but what about those things that connect us? You actually have a desire for probably some of the same things that I like. To belong, to be appreciated, to be respected, to have a quality of life, a high quality of life. And it's not many people, I don't know anybody who say, I really just want a poor quality of life.
What? No,
I just want to be disrespected every day. So a lot of us want the same thing. So why can't we focus on those things that draw us versus those things that separate us?
And I think, that's really just such a foreign concept to so many of us, because it has been drilled in us so deeply how different everybody is, that when we see each other, we automatically notice the differences, but we don't see what makes us, one and the same. So automatically when you see somebody who is of a different race or different gender, whatever it may be, automatically you think about how they're different from you, not what makes you, part of a community.
And I will say that's the one thing that makes us so beautiful, is that there is such a variety, because even in the same household, I can talk about my siblings. All of us are different shades. All of us have different eyes. I even have a younger sister with blue eyes.
Wow.
So all of us are so different, but that's what makes us great, is the fact that we are different. Like, who would want to be around the same thing all the time?
That's true.
Like, I don't want to be in that. I love knowing and feeling the unexpected. My 2 girls are totally different. Same mom, same dad, but totally different.
They do have very different personalities.
And I love that about them. And it's extreme on both ends. And I love that. And I think that that's what should draw us, is the fact that we are different. And that's what makes us beautiful, is the fact that we're different people.
So how does Love is a Parable support the community?
We support the community because, it's several different ways. One, we believe through our curriculum, if we produce people who are love conscious, and we also have part of our curriculum is that they do a kindness project, and the whole idea is for them to connect and engage with their community, to make it easier to be kind, to show love, and all of those things, and exercise some level of unity. So that's one way, is through that program we do that. The other thing is by getting involved, getting connected. Like, we don't want to be a standalone organization. We want to partner with organizations. We have Brother Empowerment, which is our community initiative.
Are you having a cookout this year too?
We're having a cookout,
Okay.
March 22nd. at Lake Willer.
Okay. So while we're let's put a pin in that. While we're talking about Brother Empowerment Cookout, how do people register for that?
They register. One, they can go to loveisapparable.com, hit happenings. That's under our impact section. Hit happenings, and you can register there, follow the instructions, go directly to eventbrite.com, type in Brother Empowerment. You will find us there. Or you can go on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all there.
Everywhere.
And then it directs you exactly where you want to go.
And you have a YouTube channel as well, don't you?
Have a YouTube channel. Love is a Parable there too. Matter of fact, if you just put in Love is a Parable, you'll get us any type of way and you'll find out everything that we have going on.
Now that you mentioned the YouTube channel.
Subscribe to her YouTube channel, and then while you're there, just go find Love is a Parable and subscribe there.
Well, too. I was going to mention that the initial Love is a Parable video that we did, 2 or 3 years ago?
It was in, what is this? Yep, it was in June of 2017.
Okay, so it's been a few years now, but that was a great introduction.
Because you're going to tell the people?
So if you want to go to, no, you go ahead and tell them about
it. No, you're going to tell the people about you?
Oh, I was in the video. I was one of the featured stories from the...
And
what?
You was our first model.
Oh, yeah. I was the first...
and our first brand ambassador.
I was the first brand ambassador. So, guys, let me tell you. I'm so into what this organization... I truly believe in what they're doing. So, I went on a trip to Washington, D.C. I'm running around the streets of D.C. stopping perfect strangers. Telling them about Love is a Parable... giving them hugs, taking pictures with them, and just sharing some unity with just everyday people in the street. And I tell you, nobody, they looked at me like I was crazy initially, but they all took a picture with me, and they all said, I believe in what you're doing too. So it ended up being a great day, and it just impacted a lot of people, because I think I may have stopped maybe 10 people in the street. And I mean, it was all walks of life, from somebody, I can't say he was homeless, but he looked like he was homeless. Men, women, a young man who looked like he may have been of Arabic descent. I don't know exactly what, but just all walks of life. It was a great experience. And then the next trip I took was to LA. I did the exact same thing. Again, a wonderful experience.
We got the pictures to prove it.
Yes, we do have the pictures to prove it. But in doing that, it had being a part of a Love is a Parable had an impact on me, but then I took it and I touched other people's lives with it. Now, I don't know those people. I'll never see them again, but I know that impacted them in a way, so that in their day-to-day life, they may not think about that particular encounter, but stuff like that changes people. Yeah.
And I will say, you actually committed to something when we wasn't 100% sure of what it was, because a lot of people, if you don't know the backstory, is we actually social media is what started us. And so we didn't know anybody when we moved here. One of the people that one of our mutual friends, Kimberly, she was the second person I met. You're probably the fifth. So there were so many uncertainties, and so I was so grateful that you actually committed to something that you didn't even know what it was, but you knew love was at the core. And you gravitated to that, and you were like our first brand ambassador, told us so much, and told so many people about Love is a Parable, and I'm grateful for that. And also, you acted for the first time in our video as well.
Yeah.
And that's really what we are about, is we want to be people's first experience.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It really was.
And I think out of that, a lot of people who don't know is that we show love to businesses by offering our creative design component. We help smaller businesses compete with the larger businesses. Just because you don't have the bank doesn't mean you have to you have to look like it.
Right.
You can actually be competitive, but on a budget, and that's what we help people do until you're able to get to those larger entities. We actually help with graphic design and low-level marketing.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, the flyers that Jay made for me when I went to LA to do my first speaking engagement and to do multiple things, book signings and a lot of things along the way. You've done those flyers, and they've always been out of this world, top notch, exactly what I was looking for, but me unable to verbalize what I was looking for. Like, well, yeah, I don't really know what I want, but you said, tell me about the event, and like, what do you think about this? And I was like, oh, that's it. That's what I was thinking. So to get back to what we Love is a Parable, you mentioned program and a curriculum a couple different times.
Yes.
tell us about this program to become a love advocate.
We actually have what is called our Love is a Parable certification program, which is an 8-week program. It's 5 weeks of instruction, but we meet for 1 day a week for instruction. And at the same time, we have 40 days of positive affirmation writing prompts. So they get the affirmations, and you're supposed to write and reflect on those for 40 days. The whole idea is to do that while you're not in class. And then after the 5 weeks of instruction, we break for 2 weeks. And that's when the participants have an opportunity to complete the kindness project. Once they show proof of the kindness project, we come back in the 8th week for graduation ceremony.
Okay. So again, guys, I'm deeply involved with Love is a Parable. I was in the beta testing group for the very first class. And just recently, just last week, we had another graduation. It was of the 3rd class. And we had some of the seniors from the beta group who became advanced advocates. So I was a part of that group. So it was first to be in the beta testing and the first advanced class. So that I think I'm tired, y'all.
Yep, and I'm so grateful. At least you certified for 2 years.
Yep, it was wonderful. So what does it mean to say that somebody is an actual love advocate, though?
A love advocate is one who represents the ideals of Love is a Parable, and they're showing those principles. They become the personification of the things that we instill in them in the class. But most importantly, we measure them by the impact. And it is very important to say, just because you certified, doesn't mean you always stay certified. Certification is only for 1 year. It's only for 1 year, and you can lose it because we want you to be bringing people together, not someone who's divisive and causing people to fall away from love or teach things that are not in relationship to what we believe.
Okay. So what kind of new initiatives does Love is a Parable have going?
Where to begin? Our youngest daughter, Lanila, her niece, her buddy.
Yes, that's my baby.
She actually approached us at the end of October and said, "Dad, I want to be a motivational speaker like you." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" She said, "Well, I want to end bullying." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, write your content. That's what your message is going to be." And I gave her a Google site to play around with. And she wrote her whole content. And it was so good that I actually announced it at our Love is a Parable 2nd anniversary here at Authors in Art. And I introduced it then. And she has now gone on with her older sister to write a book to end anti-bullying, an anti-bullying campaign, to promote love and positive self-image.
Wow. And
we're launching that full initiative. We're having our first meeting on February 24th here at Authors in Art to plan and make sure that those things happen.
So how old are your girls?
8 and 10. The 8-year-old did it.
That's amazing because our children are capable of so many great things when we give them the tools and the access to them instead of squashing their ideas and telling them you're just a kid, you can't do that. But when some of your best things can come from out of the mouths of babes.
Exactly.
Come from children if we allow them to express who they really are.
And then I'll say this is like a lot of times most adults deal with, and you know from being a life coach and dealing with people, most people struggle to find their voice. And most people struggle with being heard. If we silence our children, all they do is grow up and be silenced adults. And I think we should let them express themselves now. At least we can help shape it versus just being a wild cannon when they get older. Right.
So I did a presentation actually this morning, and one of the things that I talked about is that as children, when you go to school and sometimes at home, that people tell you to stop dreaming, stop daydreaming. Pay attention to stop daydreaming. But the thing that I talked about this morning was we should never stop dreaming. It's like, because when we stop dreaming, we start limiting ourselves.
Correct.
And it's like, so that goes right along the lines of, allowing children to speak and to express themselves so that the ideas that they have can be manifested into something great.
I agree.
So you said you had a lot of different initiatives.
Yeah,
what
we
else
also are actually piloting our Love is a Parable training down in Fayetteville. at Fayetteville Tech. We're going to see how that goes. It starts February 29th.
February is a big month for you.
Right. We also have the Brother Empowerment Cookout that we talked about earlier. That's March 22nd.
And this will be the second annual
This will be the second annual one.
It's the same weekend every year?
It's the first Sunday. The first Sunday in spring.
Okay.
Every year. That's what the brothers and I agreed on. And that's when we have it.
Okay.
We also, that same weekend, we are in a Power Plus weekend. That's actually one that talks about understanding love, sex, and individuality. And the correspondent, the organizer of that, Kenyatta, she asked me to just visit last year to see how it was. And I was actually so impressed with their introduction to how they handle stuff with sexual identity and sex and things like that, because, you know, a lot of people confuse that with love. And so I was so impressed with their delivery, but also shocked that she wanted me to come on there to kind of help them understand the difference between love and sex.
Okay.
Love and romanticism. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's something to be excited about, because so many people have this idea about what love is, and it really isn't that at all.
Yep.
And they equate love with the physical attraction that you have between someone else. That's not love. That's lust, actually. But we have, in the society that we live in, we've been conditioned to believe that's love. So we go down this road of thinking, you say it all the time, love betrayed us.
Right.
But love didn't betray us. We have
Right.
this misconception of love to begin with.
Correct. And I definitely agree with that. But also, already we've been booked for a conference in May and a conference in June. The names just escape me. Just go to Love is a Parable, Impact Happenings, and we can talk about that too, because those are in May and June. Yep. And then I think we got one coming in July too.
Oh, yeah, you're going to really be busy. Well, you've been busy. We used to talk every day. We don't talk no more. But
She changed her number.
Anyway, so tell everybody how to connect with Love is a Parable.
For one, you can just Google Bing or whatever, hashtag Love is a Parable, and you can find us, or you can go directly to loveisaparable.com and you can get in contact with us. Let us know you're there. Love on us. Let us love on you. Reach out to us. All those beautiful things.
Okay. Well, Jay, thank you so much for being my special guest today. It's been a blast, because I don't usually laugh and play this much with anybody, but I knew we would have a good time tonight, because after all, everybody, love and joy go hand in hand. Love is a Parable and the Joyful Living Life Coach. I think that's part of the reason why we connected so instantly, though. It was just this bond, because you can't have love without joy, and you can't have joy without love. You just
all
really
this
can't.
time, I thought it was joy and fist. You know, go joy, hand and fist, like this.
Okay.
I love you.
Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. If you're on YouTube, please again hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Anchor FM, make sure that you hit the support button so that we can continue to bring you these stories of inspiration and hope every week. Be sure you tune in at 5 p.m. and make sure that you listen and watch out tomorrow, because there will be a wonderful blooper reel. Guys,
y'all bet not laugh.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Joyful Living Podcast. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Authors in art, I promise you, is not anything that you've ever experienced. Don't get it confused with those other art places. You want to get in here and experience something that you've never experienced before. Most importantly, you want to make sure that your creative wellness is satisfied at Authors in Art.